Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jen and today's video is going to be the mid-year book freakout tag. I've never done a tag video before, but I've been watching this tag for many a year. So I'm really excited to get to participate this year. I will link what I believe is the creator in the description. I don't actually know. I'm just grabbing these from the video that was linked in Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin's video. We have 13 questions and I'm really excited to get answers. The first question is what is the best book you've read so far this year? That's a hard one. I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm going to give you two. The first is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I told myself I had sworn off Maas. I didn't need to read anything else. And then someone said, Jen, you need to read this. And I said, okay. And I fucking loved this one. I'm not going to talk about Sky and Breath right now, but Crescent City, this was a fantastic time for me. I really enjoyed this. I did give this 5 stars. I tapped it up. It's just beautiful. I sobbed, which we'll get to in a minute. Cried. So it's this one, but like, I wanted to use a different, I think my official answer, I think, is The Charm Offensive by Ali Cochran. This is a contemporary romance that follows a bachelor-like reality TV show and their prince, Charlie, who has severe social anxiety, severe OCD, but is placed onto this reality TV show by his agent to kind of fix his reputation in the tech world. And while he's there, he meets Dev. As I mentioned before, the audiobook pronounced it Dave. I don't know what is correct. And who is just a production assistant and producer on the show, and they end up falling in love. This book also made me cry. I feel like I'm spoiling the rest, another question later, but this book also made me cry. And I loved it. I want to reread it already. I just read it like last week. And I think this is so far maybe my favorite of the year. The next question is best sequel you've read so far this year, and I think I might be, I don't know, it's Heartstopper Volume 4. I had to find a way to get Heartstopper in here somewhere. If you don't know, Heartstopper is a graphic novel series based off a webcomic by Alice Oseman that follows Nick and Charlie, who meet each other at school and develop a friendship, and then from their romance blossoms. It is my happy place. Even though Volume 4 kind of touched on some more serious topics, like, you finish a Heartstopper book with like good feelings usually, even if you just finish Heartstopper. Heartstopper in general is just, it just makes you feel good. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 5 stars and have just continued to be obsessed with Heartstopper all year long. Thank you, TV show. Thank you, Netflix. The next question is a new release that you have not read yet, but you want to. And I'm looking at all my anticipated releases for the first half of the year that I haven't read, and I think the one that's most glaring to me is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I realized as this was coming out and I was hearing some of the stuff that I kind of need to reread this whole series just to kind of get myself. Sometimes I don't understand what's happening. And sometimes I'm almost positive this is mostly a me thing, but sometimes I don't understand the world building a little bit. So I was just like, we're going to reread it, but these are chunky and they take forever. So I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I have been spoiled sort of for this, but the spoiler did not bother me in the slightest. It actually made me more excited to read this. So at some point, I'm going to read this. I just have to read a bunch of other things ahead in order to get here, and I just don't have the time at the moment. The next question is, what is your biggest disappointment of the year so far? And that, I think, is going to be Under One Roof by Ellie Hazelwood. I loved The Love Hypothesis and was really excited to get to this, and then it did not live up to my expectations. This is a novella that takes place, it doesn't take place necessarily, it's not only it's even in the world, but it's a series of novellas that she has been releasing And this one follows, I'm not even looking up their names, two people who follows a woman who inherits this house from her mentor, only to find out that someone else lives in the house. It's her mentor's nephew. And they immediately don't get along, but my biggest thing here was that I didn't understand necessarily why they didn't get along. Like, she didn't like him. He was kind of indifferent to her, but she was like aggressively angry about him and his existence constantly. And then the most awkward sex scene in the world happened. Like, there were parts of it that were super cute, but then there were just parts that were not. So I went in with a 5-star prediction. I came out giving that book, I think, 3 stars. Next, we have biggest surprise of the year. And for this, I think I have 2, but in kind of for the same reasons, though they're not the same book. The first is American Queen, American Prince, and American King by Sierra Simone. This is her new Camelot series that I read earlier this year and was absolutely in love with. This had a lot of, this is a story, the best way to describe it is a polyamorous story, an MMF relationship between the president, the vice president, and the first lady, essentially. And it was one of the angstiest things I've ever read, and for sure the reason I continued. There was more smut than I'm used to, I think, is the link between the 2 books that I'm using for this question, and it wasn't quite as vanilla, but for some reason I didn't mind it, which I don't know what it says about me, but I really enjoyed it. I really, the new Camelot, I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed there was plot in this. I'm pretty sure there was. I need to reread it one day, but I'm afraid to at this point. But yeah, the other surprise was The Never King and the Dark One by Nikki St. Crow. For similar reasons, this is a dark romance reverse harem that follows Winnie, who is a descendant of the Darling family, and every time a Darling daughter turns 18, Peter Pan comes and kidnaps them and takes them back to Neverland because he believes that they are the key to getting his shadow back. But when she gets to Neverland, there are 3 lost boys there, and the 5 of them, it becomes a reverse harem with the 5 of them. So again, not something that I normally would have picked up, but for some reason when I did, I fucking loved it. I'm obsessed with this. I want to reread these constantly, and they're not very long, but I wasn't expecting to love this the way I did. I wasn't expecting to love the new Camelot series, expecting to like it. I was trying, well, this I just picked up on, I think I just picked this up because it was in part of Smut Den. The new Camelot series I picked up on recommendation and did not know what I was getting myself into, and I fucking loved it. So those are my 2 big surprises for the year. The next question is favorite new author, and I'm going to pick one who is new to me, but also this is their adult debut, and that is Ashley Herring Blake. Along with The Charm Offensive, I have lately been raving about this book. At like the 35-page mark, I knew it was going to be a 5-star read, and it was. Ashley Herring Blake has 2 more books in this like world announced, and I am so freaking excited for them. Not sure yet if I'm going to go and look into their backlist because it is both YA and middle grade, which don't read a ton of middle grade at all, and then YA and I have not been on the best of terms lately. Nothing against the genre, just I have no desire to pick any of it up. So I don't know if I'll go read her YA and middle grade backlist, but I am very, very, very excited to read all of the rest of her adult books. The next question is newest fictional crush. And I probably have a lot, but I think the one that's coming to mind for this is Michael from The Kiss Quotient. I don't even remember the specifics right now, but I just remember I just wanted him to hug me constantly. I wanted to hug him, and I fell in love with him. This is, I think, a lot of things lately I want to reread immediately just because they're just so good. And I think Michael was the big reason here. I have not yet finished any other books by Helen Huang, but right here we have The Bride Test, which is on my July TBR, which I will be getting to very soon. But yes, Michael he made my heart feel happy. So, Michael from The Kiss Quotient. Next we have newest favorite character, and I probably have a better answer for this, but I'm gonna go with Bryce. Bryce is a badass. She is also very typical where she does stupid shit when she's not supposed to, but but I really enjoyed her. I really loved having a plus size main character in a fantasy novel surrounded by a bunch of hot men. Yes, please. And we're just gonna keep this up. Book that made me cry. There are several pages in here towards the end when a certain called a battle is happening that I was sobbing, and I don't remember crying that hard during a book. You know, it had been a long time where I was just like, so actually I can probably tell you it was probably Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, which was many a year ago. And then there's this where I was just sobbing. This book is fantastic. I cried. Did I tab where I cried? Just because if you want to know, this isn't on here, but favorite couple of the year, probably Bryce and Hunt. Probably Bryce and Hunt. For someone who was done with Sarah J. Maas in January, is currently praising this and all the things inside of it. This, I could gush about this book. I'm not going to, but I could, and I really loved it. And it made me cry hard. I guess we can say the other one I can even think about making me cry is this one. I don't even know what it was. There's just a point in here where I think everything's towards the end. I think this had a lot to do with my connection, we'll call it connection, with the mental health rep in here. If you ever want to know where my range is, this is where my range lives. They both made me cry. Next, we have a book that made me happy, and so that I don't repeat myself 100 times today, I'm gonna go with Arctic Heat by Annabeth Albert. This is a male contemporary romance that takes place in Alaska, and follows Owen, he has recently gone into remission from a cancer diagnosis, and he decides to, as part of like a bucket list, volunteer his time to work in like the parks in Alaska. And there he gets assigned to work with Quill, who is not a people person. Owen is definitely a people person, and they end up sharing this cabin, this house, I don't know, in Alaska, and spending all of their time there, getting to know each other and falling in love. Really enjoyed this. I read this just last month, and it was almost a 5-star, and it was one of those things where you just finish it and you just feel good. And I love a book where at the end of it I just feel good. The other option here would be Heartstopper. Next question is, what is the most beautiful book you bought or received this year? And I don't think I've showed these on my channel yet, but they would be how am I gonna put these up? The Bone Witch series by Rinju Pecco in the Illumicrate versions. These are the prettiest things that I own. If you do not know, let me gush about the Bone Witch for you for a second. The Bone Witch is a YA fantasy series that follows Taya, who accidentally resurrects her brother, and discovers that she is a Bone Witch, which is basically a necromancer, but it's like a outcasted version of an Asha, which is a witch in this world. And it follows her as she learns to control her powers. And oh my god, these are so pretty. And is told in, did I put these? Yes, these are in the right order. And is told in dual timelines, one from Taya telling the story and one from the bard who Taya is telling the story to. A+, Rinju Pecco is one of my favorite authors of all time. I need to read more of their work like ASAP because I'm a little bit behind, but this series is one of my absolute favorites. And when I found out Illumicrate was doing these versions, I was so freaking happy because this is because it is one of my favorites, and I needed to have these really pretty editions. And the last question is, what is a book you need to read by the end of the year? There are many. Oh, I think the answer to this question is my most anticipated release of the year, probably, and that is Husband Material by Alexis Hall. Alexis Hall wrote Boyfriend Material, which is the first book in this series, that follow Luke and Oliver, who end up entering a fake dating arrangement until their feelings are very much not fake. This was my favorite book of last year. This is my favorite book of last year that I read last year, and I am so freaking excited that Husband Material comes out in August. And that is the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm so excited that I got to participate in this tag this year. Comment down below, let me know what your biggest surprise so far this year has been. I think that's my favorite part of reading, is finding the books you don't know are going to be favorites. and having them turn into favorites. So comment down below and let me know what your favorite surprise read of the year was. Please give this video a thumbs up if you have liked it, and please hit the subscribe button. I would very much appreciate it. And that is everything for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!